Hello kids, Mr. Agee here for our very last installment of Women's Profiles for Women's History Month from the book What Would She Do? 25 True Stories of Trailblazing Rebel Women. We're going to take a look at the life of Frida Kahlo. She was a rebel artist. Frida Kahlo is famous for many things. She's famous for her artwork, especially her stunningly surreal self-portraits. She's famous for being a rebel, but perhaps she is most famous for being a feminist icon. Frida refused to act as everyone expected a woman to act. She did what she wanted to do, and she described her life story using art. Here we have a portrait of Frida that should look familiar to you. It's on the cover of the book. Her name, Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo y Calderón. She was born July 6th, 1907. She died July 13th, 1954 at the age of 47. Her nationality was Mexican. Her profession was artist. Born in Mexico City in the early 20th century, Frida Kahlo never expected to be an artist. She wanted to be a doctor. But when she was 18, a bus crash ended her dream and very nearly her life. She was speared by a metal handrail and broke so many bones that despite many operations, she suffered terrible pain for the rest of her life. But she didn't give up. Frida had always loved to paint, and now she decorated her full body cast with beautiful butterflies. When her parents gave her a special easel that she could use from her bed, she painted on canvas too. Many of her paintings were self-portraits that showed her agony. At long last she began to recover and eventually was able to walk again. Frida Kahlo was a communist. She believed that land, businesses, and property should be owned and shared by everyone. In 1928, she met fellow communist Diego Rivera, a Mexican artist famous for painting murals, and asked what he thought of her work. He saw how talented she was and encouraged Frida to paint. The next year they were married, but their relationship was stormy. They divorced in 1939, only to remarry the following year. Many of Frida's paintings show the turmoil she felt. Frida's artwork was very distinctive. Her bright, symbolic style reflected Mexican culture. Her colors were vibrant, but they held meaning too. For example, to Frida, the color of leaf green symbolized sadness and science. Yellow stood for madness, sickness, fear, and joy. In 1938, she traveled alone to her first solo exhibition in New York City. More followed, and soon her work was displayed around the world. But still, she was only famous for being Diego Rivera's wife. Meanwhile, illness plagued her, and her health worsened. She died in 1954. Frida Kahlo was not well known until more than 20 years after her death. Today, she is one of the most famous artists in the world. While her work is often described as surrealism or magical realism, she denied this. "I never painted dreams," she said. "I painted my own reality." Here's a quote from Frida. "The only thing I know is that I paint because I need to, and I paint whatever passes through my head without any other consideration." And what would Frida do? We've got a question and an answer. All the girls in magazines are tall and slim with beautiful clear skin. They don't have a pointy nose or a derriere the size of Texas. You can't even bear to look in the mirror because you think you look so totally horrible. What would Frida Kahlo do? Frida Kahlo's eyebrows were so thick and bushy they met in the middle. She had a bit of a mustache. Did she care? No, she did not. If anything, she emphasized these features in her self-portraits because she was proud of the way she looked. And she would tell you to be proud too. So what if you're not tall and slim? So what if you have acne? That's because you're not airbrushed like the girls in the magazines. They might look perfect, but you're real. And FYI, you're fabulous. And that was our very last installment of the Frida Kahlo um, profile from the book, What Would She Do? 25 True Stories of Trailblazing Women. I hope you enjoyed our studies of the different women that we read about, and we'll be looking forward to a new focus moving into April.